not the ghost.
Well, hello and welcome back to the DCUK podcast. This is season 5 and it's episode 15. And as always, I'm your host, James Graham. So today's episode is all going to be about the game from last weekend, which was against Inter Miami. Miami? Who says Inter Miami? Inter Miami. Where we're due 2-2. We've got a preview of the game this weekend against New England Revolution, where we're on the road at Gillette Stadium. And it will be Lewis O'Brien's final game for the Black and Red, which is going to be a huge, huge miss for us. And then we're going to be looking at news. There's been a couple of bits, a couple of things from today, really, in the last couple of days. Yeah, boo. Yeah, it's not great with Lewis O'Brien leaving us. It is a sad time where his contract, his loan expires this weekend, so his final game will be on tomorrow evening. And we just got to hope that he goes out with a bang and goes out with style. Maybe just get a goal or two or get a world-class assist or something like that, maybe. I'll also be bringing you some weird and wonderful facts and laws about New England and Foxborough as well, or Foxborough, or however you pronounce it. So let's kick things off with a bit of news. And as always, let's roll the thing. I would also say before heading into the news, if you do have any questions or any thoughts or anything, please do hit them up in the chat. I will read through and make any comments as and when they come in. So a little bit of transfer rumors because it is the transfer window. And as mentioned already, Lewis O'Brien will be leaving us. But one particular rumor that came out over on Twitter, that platform that seems to be slowly dying, which is also a good time to mention that I am on Threads. Same as the Instagram, it is at DCUK. So do come and follow me over on Threads. Stu, cue dramatic news theme. It is very dramatic. It's very British as well. I love it. It's one of the best things in the world. It's got to be dramatic when it's a UK thing. Juan Cruz Esquivel is looking at a potential move to DC United. Talks between us and the club, where he's from, and there's also links with him and Peñarol as well. Peñarol is a team that I actually know from the Borough days, from following Borough, and a Uruguayan player, Gaston Ramirez. It was brilliant for us back in the day, but there was a weird thing. He was on loan to us, and his contract expired, and he apparently signed a pre-contract agreement with Peñarol, and then he agreed a deal with us, and obviously that you can't really agree deal with two clubs, so we had to do something to get him out of his contract with Peñarol, so then he could play for us. Very weird, but yeah, hopefully we won't have to go down that road with this. Looking at him, he's a left winger, currently 22 years old, on loan at Patronato. He's played 21 games this season for them, scoring 4 times. Overall, considering he's only 22, he's actually played 93 times overall, scored 14 times, and he's made 4 assists. So, yeah, not bad for a 22-year-old. I wouldn't say no to him. I know some of the guys in the DCUK chat have been looking at the sizzle reel and have had some really good things to say about him. So I think if this was a signing that we made, I think everyone would be happy. But he is currently on loan to a club at the moment. As mentioned, on loan to Patronato. So, and that is until the end of the year. So we would need to come in and take over that loan or sign him on a permanent basis. It'd be interesting to see how that goes down, if it goes down. So that's the only transfer news over the last week anyway. Not a huge amount of news that's been happening. But obviously, next week it's All Star Fever because the All Star game is coming into the city next Wednesday. You've obviously got the skills. I think it's next Wednesday. Uh, I'm just double checking now. We should have checked this before I started the show, but let's just double check. What is that? Google Journeys. What are you talking about? Talk amongst yourselves whilst I'm just doing this. MLS All Star against Arsenal. Yes, next Wednesday, next Thursday for us over here in the UK, 1:30 a.m. Probably won't be watching that. I'll catch the highlights on it because it is very early doors. But I am not working anymore, so I could do potentially. Probably not though. So we are playing Arsenal. We've got two players in the team. We've got Benteke and Tyler Miller. Lucho Costa's been named captain of the MLS All-Star team, which is good for him, especially when he's back in DC as well. Skills challenge, as mentioned on previous episodes as well. So, yeah, for those who are going there, Screaming Eagles are doing a tailgate as well. So please do go down to the Matthew Henson Conservation Centre to join in. Absolutely brilliant area to go and have a tailgate, some right on the river, great sunshine. Please do go down if you are at the All-Star game. So yeah, that's it for the news. Like I said, not a huge amount, but as always, as we're going through the show, please do get your thoughts in, get your questions in, and I'll, like I said, answer them through. And we're about to play the news theme again. So, match review time. As always, we've got a game to look at, which was the game against Miami last weekend. As you probably know, it was a 2-2 draw. But I just wanted to give you, as always, my thoughts and opinions about this game. If you don't follow me on Twitter, I do play-by-play, text commentary on there. I try and do play-by-play. It's not always that easy, but I like to give my thoughts as the game goes through, call out the big shots, this, that, and the other. Might even start doing some play-by-play stuff on YouTube. Obviously, no sounds or anything, but be interesting. Wonder if you want to see that. Let me know. I'll probably do it. See how it goes. It'll be interesting to see how many people join in on that. So this last weekend, 2-2, roller coaster of emotions because we had the first half where I thought we were the better team. We had a game plan. We were doing really well with the game plan, but we just couldn't find a final touch to get the ball in the back of the net. We were consistently getting behind their defense. And you saw it, especially with Dahome. He was exquisite in the first half, I thought. He's been an absolute star since he's joined the club from Vancouver. Really, really good. Very impressed by him. Great pace. I think he could be do a bit better with his dribbling, but to be fair, he's got the pace. He can just knock it past and just run right around them. We saw that a few times. Even Benteke was getting in behind. It was just brilliant. Like I said, we were just missing the finishing touch in the first half. I think if we got that first goal in the first half, we would have been up and away, and I think we could have been seeing quite a heavy win, which would have been nice, but it wasn't to be, was it? Because it went in 0-0 at half time, and then out came the second half where we started well. I thought we played really well. We were getting a few early corners. It was lovely, but Miami started coming back into it. They had a couple of chances, especially with Justin Martinez, who we all know is a lethal finisher in MLS. But there was one particular opportunity where he had, and Tyler Miller just got his right hand down, strong right hand, and made the save. And it was such a good save that actually Martinez went over and congratulated him after, which I thought was fantastic sportsmanship. You don't generally see that too often, but when you do see, you've got to applaud it. So fair play, Joseph, for that one. However, then in the 60th minute of the game, Inter Miami decided to go against the run of play and get a goal, and it just felt a bit of a sting because we were playing well and we were knocking on the door. We should have been up by that point, but no. They got the first goal of the game, but then just literally a few minutes later, after I called for taxi to be pulled off the pitch because I thought he wasn't doing all that great in my opinion, but he then went and scored a goal. So don't listen to me. Yeah, he managed to get the goal to bring it back to 1-1. Things looked better, but then it was just again really frustrating to see that Miami then decided to go and then retake the lead 6 minutes later after that. It wasn't 6 minutes later after that. It was 3 minutes after. Sorry, we scored 6 minutes after Miami scored. And then it was a few minutes later that Miami then retook the lead. And then 9 minutes later, we had Rowan and, 8 minutes later, Rowan and Roberta came on for Naha and, I can't remember who else we took off. Dahome, I think. And it was the most beautiful pair of substitutions you will ever see, because 1 minute later after the game on, ball gets whipped down the right towards Rowan. Rowan's first touch was beautiful. Took it down, one touch, cross, Robbie, in through the middle, not a person marking him. Is there for the tap-in. Absolutely brilliant. It's what you want to see. Instant impact from your substitutions. Wayne really looks like an absolute god for making that. And yeah, it was a really good way to equalize. Then towards the end of the game, Benteke had a couple of opportunities. One which was probably the easiest chance you'll ever have, and he missed it. And then there was a poor back pass towards the keeper. Benteke had the opportunity to poke it around the keeper, but keeper made a good save. And I've got to give credit for the keeper. He did have a good game in this one. Made plenty of good saves, and it's just one of those things. I think on another day, we would have had a few more goals, but you've got to give credit where credit is due. Did we deserve a draw? Yeah, absolutely. Could we and should we have taken all 3 points? Absolutely. Bottom of the table, we had the opportunities. We had many more attempts. We had 16 shots at goal, 9 of them on target, which is more than normal. In the sort of previous 5-10 games, we've had a lot more on target. We didn't have as much possession, which I think is something I called out that would probably happen in my last podcast. But yeah, we certainly had the opportunities, and looking at the expected goals as well, we were 2.8 to 0.7. So yeah, we really should have won this one. Glad we were able to take at least a point. I think if we got beat, that would have just, the pitchforks would have been out. But yeah, we got a point. Not the worst thing, but by far and away not the best thing. Yeah, I feel like we could have done a hell of a lot better in that one. But yeah, that was the Miami game. I felt Martinez, we kept him fairly quiet. Pizarro didn't really do much. I didn't really think any of their players were really stand out. I felt like like I said, Dahome for me was really good. I'm trying to think. Well, I mean, O'Brien did have a couple of poor moments, shall we say, where he lost the ball at the back, which he has been prone to do. But he's actually really good box to box wise. But you can't really be losing the ball at in front of your own 18-yard box. It's not called for. It's not what you should be doing. But yeah, like I said, we were against the worst team in the league. They had just recently come off 2 draws as well, and they've got Messi inbound, so everyone's going to be playing for that. They'll want to be on the pitch with Messi. That's what they're after. Heather, what are we drinking? I'm doing a live podcast, so I'm not drinking anything alcoholic right now. I am currently drinking orange squash. Ignore the brand name. We should not be promoting that. But yeah, orange squash for me. What are you drinking, Heather? Stu, Brian, what are you drinking? I think Stu's probably drinking vodka. Something. That's what I'm guessing. But yeah, I'm drinking squash. I do have a couple of beers for this weekend. For the New England, I think I've got a New England IPA, so I'll be breaking that out. Brewdog, Russian potato, water, and Diet Coke. Yep, I was right. Vodka and Diet Coke. So speaking of New England, it's a lovely segue into the game this weekend. So I've got some strange and useless facts about USA, New England edition. It's almost like you know me. Yes. Well, I do, Stu. I do know you for my sins. Brian's drinking water on the rocks. Have a 10K in the AM. Tomorrow we'll be drinking during the match. A 10K run. Fair play, Brian. I know you're quite into your doing new runs and all your exercise and things. So good luck for the 10K in the morning. Rather you than me. We've also had some really, really bad weather over here over the last couple of days. It's just been horrible. Wet, windy. It was really wet today. Taking the dog out. Managed to avoid the rain, taking him for his walk, but that's another thing. Anyway, back to strange and useless facts about USA, New England edition. So New England Revolution's home is the Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. I was doing a little bit of research about this, and I need to make across the pond to do a back run one day and meet up in them. Yeah, pub. You said the magic word, Brian. Pub. But yeah, former girlfriend to DC United's Freddie Adu, Jojo, is from Foxborough, Massachusetts. Did you know that? Did you also know that it is illegal to have a gorilla in the backseat of any car? Don't know how and why you would have a gorilla in the backseat of a car. How you would get it in there in the first instance, but yeah. Did you know that you're not allowed to have a goatee unless you obtain and pay for a license to wear it in public? No goatee. You got to pay for a license. Strange one, that one. We're going to go down a little different path with these next two. That's this. If you're a child and you're listening, please put fingers in your ears right now. What about the front seat? Is this an airbags issue? There is no law against having a gorilla in the front seat. No law. I didn't see that, but you can't have a gorilla in the back seat of any car. A woman is not allowed to be on top during bedroom time. How would anyone know? I mean, answers on a postcard. I think we all know how people would know, but that's a bit weird. A woman's not allowed to be on top, and also false teeth must be removed. Yes, you're not allowed to be wearing false teeth whilst you're doing the business. So now I know how to transport my gorilla when I visit. I'm learning things, yeah. And that's the whole point of this little segment is to learn things. Plan your next visit to the USA. Plan your next road trip, wherever you may be. Just if you're with a fair lady, Don't let it go on top. And if you've got false teeth, make sure you keep them in. Sorry, make sure you take them out. I'm just gonna leave it there. Anyway, let's have a little rundown. Oh my god, let's have a little rundown of the game this weekend against New England Revolution. So we're on the road this Saturday. It is going to be kicking off at the usual time, so 7:39 Eastern time, and 39 minutes past midnight for us over here in the UK. It is on MLS Season Pass, so if you don't have it, get yourself signed up. I think it's still half the price or whatever. Well worth it, in my opinion. Loved every moment of having it this year. Not having to think about getting a VPN or paying for said VPN and then having to struggle to get the stream and things like that. And the quality of the broadcast is much better. And the only thing I do miss is not having Dave Johnson. So, Dave, if you're listening, just so you know, I do miss listening to your commentary. It's not great, but I do like listening to all the clips that you do share on your social media. So yeah, head-to-head wise, there's been 92 regular season games between the two sides, very even across the board. We've won 39, New England have won 37, and there's been 16 draws. So pretty even Stevens. Recent form wise, we've currently lost only 2 in the last 5. We've won 2 and drawn 1. So that's 2 wins, 2 defeats, 1 draw. And we're coming off what I've just been talking about. I thought was a half decent performance against Miami. We just couldn't finish, which I'm hoping that they've been practicing that on the training pitch this weekend. This week. New England are coming off a midweek game against Atlanta United, but they have a record of 3 wins, 1 draw, and 1 defeat in their last 5. Their midweek game against Atlanta United was a 2-1 victory. In that game, they scored 2 early goals, 2 goals in 9 minutes. And looking at it, they were in control for the majority of the first half, but they did let Atlanta back into the game in the second. And Atlanta finally broke the deadlock for themselves in the 93rd minute to make the ending a little bit nervy. However, Petrovic for New England did make a hell of an amount of saves. He made 10 saves in that game, which is incredible. In terms of Football Manager, I would say that was probably an 8.6. He would have got in that game. 8.2 to 8.6 for making that amount of saves and only conceding the 1 goal towards the end of the game. They did also field a very strong lineup midweek as well. So there's probably going to be some tired legs, I want to say. They played on the 12th, I believe it was. Let me just double check on that just to make sure I've got my facts right. Schedule. Yeah, it was on the 12th, so it was on Wednesday. So they've had Thursday, Friday to have a rest, and they're back in it on Saturday. So there's a quick turnaround. Granted, they've been both home games, but fielding that strong lineup midweek hopefully will play really well into our hands for this weekend. Their previous fixture against DC United was a 2-1 win for the Revolution. We did take the lead in that game, but they scored an 88th minute winner through Buck, which was off a corner, so off a set piece. We cleared it to the edge of the box, and he rifled in a shot, which did take deflections, and it trickled into the back of the net. But it's still not great to see that happen. Petrovic is a quality keeper. Our forwards are going to need to be switched on to catch him out. Yeah, 100%. They're near the top of the table. They're a really, really good side. Bruce Arena's done wonders with them, considering what happens with them under Brad Friedel. Revs are currently unbeaten in 12 matches at home against DC United. They've won their last 4 home games against us in a row as well. So they've got a really good recent record against us. You could put that down to a number of things, but one of those things is going to be the fact that it is on AstroTurf. That's what we call it. Got it over here. We call it AstroTurf. I know you guys in America, you call it turf, but turf to us is proper grass. So AstroTurf. However, we have recorded the most points on the road since 2019, where in that year we recorded 23 points so far this year. We've recorded 14 points on the road, 4 wins and 2 draws. So we've got a really good away record right now. Revs 2 early goals in midweek against Atlanta United were their first 2 goals from kickoff since May 2018, when they scored 2 goals in 7 minutes against Toronto. And then Taxi has scored in consecutive matches for the 4th time now in MLS after his goal against Miami. So difficult. Really flipping difficult. But as Stu's just said, now is the time to ruin that run. Yes, I would love to see us ruin that run. Unlucky 13 for New England, hopefully. We shall see. Availability report. So Goff was ever so kind to post this on Twitter. But for us, the Standard, Rodriguez and Jaheze are both out, knee and ankle injuries respectively. Teku Di Pietro is still out with his ankle injury and probably will be out for another 2-3 weeks. Pedro Santos is also out with a thigh injury. And Donovan Pines is suspended for this game after picking up a number of yellow cards. For the Revs, Barrero's out with a knee injury. Nacho Hill is out with a leg injury, not Carlos Hill, Nacho. Kessler is out with a hamstring injury. Maciel is out with an Achilles injury, and McNamara is out with a leg injury. So similar, the same amount of people out for both teams. 5 players out. So it'll be interesting. And just to kind of give you a rundown of their key players, Gustavo Bo is one of their DPs as the forward, Carlos Hill, midfield, and Giacomo Vrioni, who is a forward as well. They do have their under-22 player in Dylan Barrero, but he is out injured, and they've got one generation Adidas player in Joshua Bulmer. Now, I asked for questions over on Instagram, and the chap Mike, who runs the Any Revs UK account. So if you want to see more MLS UK content, do go and follow at Any Revs UK. He's on Instagram, Twitter. So please do go follow him. He's a really good guy. He's recently managed to get himself over to New England for the first time ever and got to a game. And it looked like he had an absolute awesome time. Him and the family went out there. So good on him. Really good to see. And it looked like everyone was really welcoming of him when he went over. But he asked, how do you deal with Carlos Hill? You injure the player. No, you don't want to injure him. You want to actually play against the better players. So with Carlos Hill, I think what you need, how can you suspend a tree? That's Pines. I think that's going to be a bit of a miss for us this weekend. He's been playing really well this year, and that will mean that we'll have it'll probably be a Heinzike, Williams, Birnbaum backline. It could be Paulson, to be fair. Heinzike, Williams, and Paulson. That would be the preferred for me. Back to what Any Revs Mike was asking. How would you deal with him? You need to close them down quickly so you kill the opportunity for those killer passes. That's going to be the big thing. You look at how we do it against Lucho Acosta in the 2 games we had against Cincinnati, where we just forced them deeper and deeper, and just only allowed them to pass it sideways or backwards. It was very rare that he had the opportunity to pass it forwards. That's going to be the big thing for me. in terms of keeping Carlos Hill quiet, out of the game, frustrate him. And it's going to be the same with Bo as well. I think we're going to need to be quite rough with him, let him know that we're there, nip at his ankles a little bit maybe, and just be a tough team to play against. We might need to grind this one out, I think. I think it's going to be tricky. We've seen them so far this year. If I look at the standings, actually, just load them up. So New England are second in the Eastern Conference at the moment. They're currently sitting on 40 points from 22 games played, 11 wins, 7 draws, and only 4 defeats. They have scored 38 times so far this year, conceding 28, though. So they have conceded a fair amount. We've scored 32, but we've also conceded 30. So we've got a +2 goal difference. We're sat in 8th position in the table, but we have played more games than the teams around us. So that could mean that we do drop down a couple of places, which would mean we actually, no, we would drop down to 9th. So we'd still be inside the playoff region. So it's getting tight towards the latter third of the season, the final third. So hoping we can take it over the line and we get some playoffs this year. It's going to be tight, which should mean for some exciting games towards the end of the season. But yeah, New England, they're doing well. Their home record is 8 wins and 3 draws. They've not been beaten so far this year. So it's going to be a tricky game. Can we get the win? I think we'll be lucky if we get a win. We could sneak it in there. But most likely, I think it'll be a draw. I think it might be a 1-1. And if we're lucky, we'll get that 2-1 win. And then we also need to be aware of the set pieces as well, especially when you've got the likes of Carlos Hill in there as well. Stu. You idiots. Oh, Stu, I love you. Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. I think it's going to be a good game. I hope it's going to be entertaining. I think we're going to need to be careful with Andy, especially the fact that it's on Astro as well. So lineup wise, I think it'll be Miller and goal again. It'll be Paulson, Williams, and Heinzike back line. I then think it'll be Rowan starting this one. I think Andy will come on if he does. Or if it's Andy starting, he'll come off a halftime or something. He won't play the full game in this one. Then it'll be Knaus and O'Brien in the middle with who's going to be on the left? Because Santos is out, Jay's out. Could it be? Oh no, Dahome be out there. Then it'll be Click, Taxi, and Benteke up top, 3-4-3 or 3-4-1-2. Yeah, I think that's how it's gonna go down. Similar to last week's lineup. Yeah, I'd be happy with that. I think a good bit of pace. I think we could. I'm hoping we can spring a surprise. I think there is that big opportunity there for us to be able to do that. We sprung the surprise against Cincinnati earlier on in the season where we were able to beat them and that was their second defeat of the season after the only other defeat was against St. Louis City. So yeah, I think we can do it. We can upset the apple cart, I think, in this one. So yeah, 1-1 draw or a 2-1 win I'm going to go for this week. So it'll be an interesting one. Other than that, that's about it for this week. Nice, short, sweet. It's a Friday evening. Probably want to go back and grab ourselves a little beer, or Stu will be grabbing himself probably a top up of his vodka. But yeah, I think that's it for this week. Like I say, short and sweet. Do come and join us at DCUK. Head over to dcunitedkingdom.com/membership. We do have a Twitter group, which is always fun and games in there, especially on a game day. Do subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and give this little podcast episode a thumbs up as well. Every time it's done, it's appreciated. And please do leave some podcast reviews. I did get an extra one this recently. Let's just bring that up. So thank you very much to scroll down to Static Vase. Just saying, solid. James is a great DCU fan. The pod is entertaining. I appreciate that. Thank you for the kind words. And earlier on this year, B. Joseph Miller just saying, great podcast and community. So appreciate it. So yeah, anytime you leave a review or a rating, it always helps. So please do carry on with that, and I'll read them out on the next episode if you do leave any. So yeah, so that's it for this week. Thank you all for joining. It's been a pleasure as always. And until next time, Vamos United.
Swallowed on record, off record deals. Tell them talk to Colin for the quote. On record, off record, I still want the act, not the ghost. Whoa, whoa, whoa.